Is Colo the new MSP? Are colocation providers the kind of new breed of managed service providers? It's an excellent question. If you don't work in IT services and you just happen to stumble across this, probably the simplest way to explain what a colocation provider does is they rent space and electricity and bandwidth to companies that allow you to put your high-speed IT assets in their location. And there's a tremendous amount of benefits and cost-effective reasons, security reasons, and performance reasons why people tend to do this. Managed service providers, on the other hand, historically provide outsourced IT, usually to small and medium-sized businesses, where they take care of anything and everything related to a small company's IT needs that don't have a deep bench of talent internally to take care of their own IT. And these used to be completely separate business models as recently as 5 or 10 years ago. Then a couple things came along. Managed service providers from their small and medium-sized business clients started getting requests to help their clients with things that were on hosted servers, sitting in co-location facilities, or sitting basically off premises outside the office. And they said, well, somebody's going to manage, we better manage that box, we better be the ones that are managing that box, that are managing that application, that are managing that assets. So they started going to co-location providers that sold wholesale space, and they sold it at retail. They bought in bulk and they sold it at a markup, similar to how historically they might have gone to Synex or Ingram Micro or Tech Data or someone like that and purchased hardware or software or peripherals or something like that in bulk and sold them at a small markup. These days there's not much of a markup at all, but that's historically how it's been. Co-location providers typically years ago had strong enough margins that they left all the value-added services to other providers, and they just made great partners. Along the lines, over the years though, co-location providers have gotten requests to provide more hand-holding to their clients that also don't have a deep bench of IT talent internally, so they sell their own managed services. The big difference though is most co-location providers aren't going to go out to a client site and set up desktops and notebooks and access point and all that on-premise stuff. Their demarcation point is they'll take care of things that are in their co-location facilities, they'll take care of remote assets, but they're not in the business of sending technicians out to crawl around on their bellies and deal with dust bunnies and pull cables through the ceiling and things along those lines at their clients' sites. The challenge, however, though, is that MSPs, managed service providers, make great channel partners for co-location providers. But managed service providers as a bunch tend to be pretty paranoid, pretty skeptical, really concerned about account control issues. So if you're the CEO or sales director, or if you have a channel manager for your co-location company and you're looking to grow your channel reach and partner with MSPs, it's really critical that you draw a line in the sand and say, this is what we do, this is what you do. We're looking for people that don't cross over into our turf, and we're not going to cross over into your turf. And the challenge with all of that is it's really important to be respectful of that, to make sure there's no channel conflict, because at the end of the day, many of these co-location providers, aside from their channel partners, are targeting the exact same buyer personas as managed service providers. A lot of them have recognized that there's a really long sales cycle when they're targeting enterprise IT buyers. There's a really long sales cycle, a lot of politics involved when they're targeting government and K-12 and higher education. So they kind of see the low-hanging fruit as small and medium-sized businesses. And it is to a certain degree. Small and medium-sized businesses a lot of times are much higher margin. They need a lot more professional services. And it's a good thing. But if the MSP and the colo provider are going after the exact same clients, there's a real strong potential for them to butt heads. So make sure that you address that proactively by explaining that your managed services are not the same as the managed services that a managed service provider, and make it really clear, and your materials make sure that it's really clear in their materials. The flip side though is in many cases co-location providers, especially small local ones that are single location or perhaps 2 locations, they usually don't have the same marketing and sales resources as large national competitors, but they usually do have a much better grip on product market fit and packaging and pricing and sales funnel and deal stages than small local managed service providers. So make sure that you're aware of that at the same time, because in a lot of ways, at least at the surface, some small co-location providers that don't have multiple locations, that really don't have upmarket staff, that really don't have upscale talent, that are going after larger installations, they're butting heads in many cases with MSPs who are offering similar kinds of things where they're purchasing co-location on a wholesale basis and looking to sell it on a retail basis bundled in with their managed services. Colo isn't quite the new MSP yet, but I think in many contexts, if you're not thinking about these issues strategically, it's really easy to bump into each other. And I talked about this pretty recently at a talk that I gave at Data Center World on 10 ways for colocation providers to find the right niches and avoid commoditization. And I think a big part of finding the right niches and avoiding commoditization is to become very self-aware of what your business model is and what your business model is not, and who your ideal clients are and who they are not. And once you become a lot more self-aware of that, it becomes a lot easier to build an ecosystem of other like-minded people to partner with. Without that self-awareness, without the single piece of paper that says, this is what we do, this is what they do, you're not going to cross into our turf, we're not going to cross into your turf, it becomes really, really difficult to partner for colocation providers to partner with local managed service providers. So that's an excellent question. Is Colo the new MSP?